Hopefully this turns out better than the Frankenstein monster Chris has put together one unit at a time, his perfect team. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I'd like to come up with a way to knock it, but Chris, that's pretty well done.
Thanks.
I will say this, though. I understand that the Saints have great depth at quarterback, and I'm very partial to Taysom Hill. I'd have to go with the Chiefs quarterbacks over the Saints. Why did you go with New Orleans?
Well, we did it. I tried to stay within the spirit of the exercise, right? We're doing team building as in like, hey, you want to have a team and have great depth and everything like that. And, again, I think if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt in Kansas City, I don't feel great about, listen, I like Chad Henne, but I would certainly feel more comfortable with having, Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston at my disposal. So it was more about building the perfect team as far as depth and having some CYA, right? Cover your own butt, as they'll say there. Yeah. Because, hey, of course I think
Why would you, listen, why would you edit yourself and not say ass? I don't understand
know. You're
that.
Right.
The guy who drops an S-bomb a couple of weeks ago is now like ultra careful. You're tiptoeing through the minefield. Go ahead.
Well, I
don't mean go ahead and curse. I mean go ahead and continue your point.
Yeah, well, the S-bomb got me scared, okay? So I'm afraid to say it again, all right? But yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. Specifically like with the running back position. Of course, Christian McCaffrey is the guy you'd look at and go, oh, that would be a great guy to have on my team for the perfect all-22 team. But, I mean, if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, who's your backup? Tell me, somebody out there, tell me who the backup running back is in the Carolina Panthers. Nobody would know. It's Mike Davis right now. So, yeah, with the Baltimore Ravens, because they have 4 guys that are unbelievable. You got, like, 2 speed fast guys. You got a starter and a backup. You got, like, a J.K. Dobbins and Hill. And then you got 2 power guys and Mark Ingram and a Gus Edwards. So, to me, that's what we're doing here. It's about the building of a team and – like the great teams, if you have one injury, it doesn't ruin your team. You have other people to come in and go, okay, we can still execute our game plan on what we do because we're not ruined by that one guy being off the field.
I'll agree with you at running back. I'd rather have those guys than a group led by arguably the best running back in football because injuries much more likely at the running back position. Quarterback, I'm not going to go run and hide over the possibility of Patrick Mahomes getting injured because I want Patrick Mahomes when he's healthy. And there's a lower risk of him getting injured than a running back. And last year, Chad Henne wasn't healthy either, and it was Matt Moore that came in and saved their bacon by doing just enough to allow them to have the number 2 seed, not the number 3 seed in the AFC when the playoffs rolled around. And so, yeah, I get you. Forget all the praise I gave you on the way in. Your list sucks. I'll take Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs quarterbacks. All right, but now let's assume that it's accurate. We'll accept for the purposes of this exercise your list. Based upon the units you've selected, would you rather have that Colts offensive line and that wall that has been built in Indianapolis a few hundred miles north, or the Chiefs receivers? Which would you rather have?
Well, I think I'd rather have the Colts offensive line. The Chiefs receivers, I love them. You know that. But, part of their specialness is that guy that can throw bombs to them off his back foot and do all of those things. Not all quarterbacks could take advantage of the true strengths of those Chiefs wide receivers all the times. If you're just really building a team and you didn't know who your quarterback was, to have the dominant offensive line gives you more flexibility and can save your whatever quarterback you had back there. So, yeah, I guess I'd go with the Colts O-line. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you put it in the context of putting the Colts offensive line in Kansas City, if you give Patrick Mahomes even more time, he's eventually going to find someone who is open enough for him to deliver one of those lasers that you like to throw. Give me the sound effect. One of those lasers is going to fire in there. Yes. Yeah. So he's dangerous enough when the protection breaks down. How much harder would it be to defend the Chiefs if he actually had the kind of protection? Not that he has bad protection, but if you give him a great offensive line, my goodness, he would be even better. All right, would you rather have the 49ers defensive line or the Patriots defensive backs, Chris?
Oh, this is really a tough one here. Again, I think I'm going to favor the line play more than anything. I think they can affect the game in more areas. First off, hey, the 49ers had the number one pass defense in football last year, right? And it's one of the best pass defenses we saw in football over the last 10 years. So within that, and none of us look at that San Francisco secondary and go, oh, that's one of the 5 best secondaries in football. And oh my gosh, they have some shutdown corners. No, they were the top pass defense in football because, hey, they were good in the secondary, but they were great at the defensive line. So as much as I have respect for that Patriots secondary and all that, if you don't have a creative coach to confuse some things up in the front seven and create some pressure on a quarterback, those DBs, you can only cover for so long. I don't care if you got 4 Deion Sanders out there. If the quarterback's sitting there all day, 4 or 5 seconds to throw, it's going to be hard for them to cover everybody like that. So I'm going to go with the 49ers D-line.
I'm always taking a defensive line over a defensive backfield, Chris. If you've got a dominant defensive line, you and I could play defensive back because the quarterback is never going to have time to even find a guy remotely open. He's running for his life more than anything else. And once you hit him a few times, that becomes his main focus. I mean, what has ultimately taken down the Patriots at their best? It wasn't a great defensive backfield. It was a great defensive line that gets pressure on the quarterback early and often and begins to inflict physical harm, not harm, but the whole idea is you hit him and you make him think, right, I have to worry about this now, right? If the defensive backs are covering your receivers, it doesn't inflict physical pain upon you. Getting hit by that line does, and it gets in your head and it gets you thinking too much about those guys who are chasing you. So yes, definitely. Absolutely. All right. Would you rather have the Buccaneers tight ends or the Ravens running backs, Chris? Ooh, this one's tough.
It is a tough one. There's 3 good tight ends down there in Tampa that I'm excited about. I think I'd rather have the running backs, though. I do. Especially right now in 2020, with the running backs being able to do so much more, almost all of them can come in the NFL and catch the ball seamlessly out of the backfield. They can run routes like slot receivers, a lot of them. And those Ravens running backs, I mean, they're truly game breakers that way. Like, hey, listen, I like Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard, and we know Gronk, but he's been out of football for a year. J.K. Dobbins can go around the edge for 80-yard touchdowns. Mark Ingram can get more 8- and 10-yard tough runs up the middle than just about any running back in football. So I look at that, and then let alone there's 2 good guys behind them on each side there that are pretty impressive too. So I go Ravens running backs here.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think the running back position is a greater piece of the overall offense. It has more impact running the ball and catching the ball. The tight ends ultimately are just a piece of the passing game, even though they are great tight ends in Tampa Bay. I agree with you. I'd rather have a better complement of running backs than tight ends. All right, this last one. Would you rather have Chris's ideal team or Chris's ideal coaching staff, head coach Bill Belichick, offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, defensive coordinator Wink Martindale? Chris, I must have missed the day that Kyle Shanahan got fired by the 49ers and hired by someone else as an offensive coordinator. What the hell is this?
Well, I just figured if we're going to build the perfect team, I need to build the perfect coaching staff. And that's the one I like the most. I think as much as my buddy Kyle Shanahan and I, have a good relationship, I think he would realize he'd have to be relegated to a coordinator position if Bill Belichick was there. As awesome as he is right now. So, yeah, I thought that to me, Kyle's the best offensive mind in the game right now. I think Don Wink Martindale is the best defensive mind of the game. And, of course, Belichick might be the best of all of them and put them all together and being the head coach and all of that. The real question is here. So
wait a minute. So what would you? Yeah. So what are you taking? Are you taking your team, or you're taking this coaching staff?
Well, here's the question to me. Like, all right, first off, do we have any say on who's coaching the team itself? I mean,
that's my point. If we're going to do this crazy, we're going to demote guys from head coaches into coordinator jobs. Yeah, this one's easy for me. I'm taking the team, and I'm going to go out and I'll take Sean Payton and make him the offensive coordinator. I'll make Mike Zimmer the defensive coordinator, and I'll be the head coach. How hard can that be?
I don't think Zimmer or Sean Payton would listen to you one time. That's what it would be fun. They'd be like, "What head coach? Shut the hell up! I'll call what I want. You don't know anything." I'd like to see that.
I'll go sit down and say, "I'm just going to watch the game. You guys go to work."
I'm with you though. I think I'd take the players too, as long as you're not like throwing like Johnny High School coach to coach the players. Yes, that's too much talent on a football team, even for great coaches like Belichick and Shanahan and Martindale to overcome.
I hear all the time that on game day, the head coach really doesn't have much to do, and that it's just, when do you go for it on fourth down? When do you call your timeouts, right? The big picture decisions. I could do that. If I knew that I had a great offensive coordinator, a great defensive coordinator, I could figure out when to go for it on fourth down. I could figure out when to call a timeout. I play Madden every day.
Oh, that's right. You play Madden. That's right. You're ready to be a head coach.
Hey,
and you would be the king of like, we're going to go up 7 and you're going to go for 2 to go up 9, aren't you? That's the other thing you're going to do as the head coach. Oh,
absolutely, baby.
Absolutely.
Make it a two-score game. Onside kicks. Onside kicks. If you learn by Madden, you always go for it on fourth down. Onside kicks, fake punts. Yeah, it would be. I may not be very successful, but the games would definitely be entertaining.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.